Good morning. In this video, I'll be reviewing the free novice program for hypertrophy by Natural Hypertrophy. Um, First of all, once again, I'm a little bit biased in favor of this guy because he's kind of doing what I'm doing, where he's just sitting down in front of a camera and uh, and just recording a program, which I really like. And he's got a cool French accent, so already a fan. Let's have a look here at the program. So it's a 3-day-a-week program, and it kind of seems to be a push-pull legs, except with a I see push-ups, for example, at the end of a pull days, which I like. I like using a workout split as like a base, but then not being a slave to it to ensure you get the best out of it. So let's have a look here. Monday. I also like how he's included like a little bit of justification or like a description of what the exercise is. So, for example, we have Monday compound movement, main knee flexion, and then squats. So let's jump in. Compound movement, main knee flexion, squats. Once again, really nice description of what it is. 1 to 3 heavy sets, 4 to 8 reps. Normally, I would get a bit. I wouldn't be such a big fan of like a set range like that, like 1 to 3, because that's a big range. But I kind of like it because as a beginner, maybe your first week or couple of weeks or even month, just come in and do 1 set, no problem. But then as you kind of progress a bit, you'll probably work up to 3 sets over the first couple of months. So I really like that he's included that set progression as well. And then I think 4 to 8 reps. Once again, I like rep ranges. I think rep ranges are so much better than like static reps, or those horribly cursed like specific reps per set. And I think 4 to 8 reps is a great rep range for a squat. I think especially for a beginner, there's actually something to be said for doing lower reps because it means you can focus more on each rep. Like if I ask you as a beginner to do a set of 20, by the time you get to 20th rep, you're just trying to survive. So I really like 1 to 3 sets. I think that's good set range, and I like the rep range as well. Then we go to deadlift variation. I'm assuming the slash means supersetted to pull-ups. I don't love this. I do like on a leg day, doing a knee flexion and a hip hinge. I think that's a really good way of doing it. Basically, quads and then hamstrings and glutes. So I don't necessarily like how I didn't say which deadlift variation. I think for a beginner, you'd rather know, like, is it a stiff leg deadlift? Is it a Romanian deadlift? Or a Romanian stiff leg deadlift? Maybe even like a good morning or something. Like, it'd be nice to know what you're doing. But to be fair, presumably, if you're a true beginner, you're probably like watching the video as well to really figure out what's going on. So he possibly says in the video. 4 sets, I think it's interesting because the squats we go 1 to 3, which is fine. But then we go on the deadlift, we go straight to 4 sets, which seems like a lot. It's going to really bias us towards the hip hinge, the hip extension more than the squat. Because imagine you do 1 set of squats, right? But now you do 4 sets of deadlift. And we're supersetting that to pull-ups, which once again, I don't love because, especially as a beginner, if your upper back's tired from pull-ups, especially because you're supersetting them, it might be quite hard to keep the bar super stable for a deadlift. And I understand you're not going to be using much weight as a beginner, but of course you're not that strong as a beginner, so it kind of comes out in the wash. So I don't love this superset. I understand what he's trying to do, but I would maybe rather you just did a deadlift variation and then did your pull-ups afterwards. Because I think as a beginner, if your lats and stuff start getting cooked from your pull-ups, which they will because you're new, your deadlift might suffer and you might start to find yourself rounding or just not being as stable as you could be. 6 to 10 reps though, I think is a great rep range. One thing I would say is I would like maybe if it was to be a separate rep range for pull-ups, because a lot of beginners can only do 2 or 3. So it'd be good for them to know, are they supposed to just do 2 or 3? Or should they go find an assist to make sure they can get the right amount of reps? But yeah, so I like exercise selection now. I would actually just, and this is weird for me to say because I'm such a fan of supersets, but I would pull that superset apart. I would do a deadlift and then I would do a pull-ups. And I would also give them a set range. You gave them a set range for squats, 1 to 3. Why not give them a set range for deadlifts? And even if you believe that they should do more deadlifts, why not give them like 2 to 4? Because else you might run into the thing where beginner does 1 set of squats and then 4 sets of deadlifts, which is not a great ratio. Then we go isolation work / non-specific accessories, skull crushes to hammer curls, 4 sets 8 to 12. I love this. I think triceps and biceps are such a classic superset for a reason. They don't affect each other. It feels good. I think it's actually, this is just a personal perspective. It's not science-based or anything like that. I feel like it's good for the elbow. My elbows always feel good when I do triceps and biceps on the same day. It feels nice. You'll get a huge pump. I think 4 sets 8 to 12 is a great rep range as well. So very big fan of that. Skull crushes to hammer curls. Hammer curls are nice as well because they are a bicep exercise, but they're also a forearm exercise. So really happy with that. And then we go pseudo GPP, or pseudo general physical preparedness. I wonder what he means by that. Maybe he just means like you're building your work capacity. And if you see here, it makes sense. Additional horizontal presses. So we're basically just doing as many push-ups as we can and as many. I wish he would give, he says abs. I wish he would give which ab exercise he wants you to do. I think as a beginner, you'd rather know what you're supposed to be doing. So I wish he would rotate like leg raises or crunches or whatever it is. But I kind of like what he's doing here. I think this is actually something that should be included in beginner programs. Why not use the... Because if you're writing an advanced program, you put push-ups in it, it's a bit cursed, because unless they're weighted push-ups, most advanced people can do, even after a workout, lots and lots of push-ups, too many. Whereas here, if you're a beginner, why not, build a bit of... and I like how he's called it general physical preparedness, because it kind of is. The ability to do high-rep push-ups, especially after a day, will really build your, your physical preparedness. It will build your stamina, your work capacity, and you're supersetting that to abs with an AMRAP. So your abs are actually really going to challenge you on those later sets of push-ups. Because for a push-up, you're basically holding a high plank position. So I actually kind of like this. And as he says, it's an additional horizontal press. So you're getting some, because you haven't done any horizontal pressing today. So you'll get a bit of extra chest volume here from this. I actually really like that. I think that's a cool idea. That's good. I just wish he would tell you which ab exercise he wants you to do. Also, I note there's no sets here. I'm assuming maybe is it just one then? Maybe it would be good to have a set range, 1 to 3, something like that. Then we go to Wednesday. So first day was Monday. Then we go to Wednesday. Compound movement / main horizontal press. Bench, 1 to 3. 4 to 8. So basically the same as the squats. I like this. Once again, same justification behind the set range. As a beginner, maybe it's nice to progress into higher sets. And 4 to 8 I think is a great rep range for a bench as well, for the same reasons we talked about. It's a heavy compound movement, and lower reps can allow you, especially as a beginner, to focus more on each one. Then we go, back off sets for main. Okay, so he's programmed the back off sets separately. So it's actually we're still on the bench, and we're doing another 3 sets of 6 to 10. So we've done 3 heavy. It's a lot of benching, especially as a beginner. This is 6 sets of bench. So 3 sets of 4 to 8, 3 sets of 6 to 10. But of course, it might not actually be 3 sets of 4 to 8, now that I think about it, because it's 1 to 3. So as a beginner, especially if you're new, you might walk in, do 1 heavy set, and then 3 lighter sets. I think that's good. I like that, actually. I think that's really nice. I think beginners should spend a lot of time benching. I think benching is really, really good. It blows up your chest, and it teaches you all about what heavy compound movements feel like and how to do them, basically. So don't actually have a problem with that at all. I think that's a really good start to a Wednesday. Then we go overhead press supersetted to chin-ups. I actually kind of like this. First of all, it's a convenient superset because most gyms, or a lot of gyms, will have a pull-up bar on a squat rack, so you don't even have to leave your squat rack, which is great. And I like the order. I think, and I've talked about this a little bit before in other videos, I think it makes sense to do your flat pressing, your horizontal pressing, and then your vertical pressing, because it doesn't seem to affect it as badly. As in, you could do a bunch of sets of bench and still do some decent overhead pressing, but the reverse doesn't seem to be true. So I really like that. I think that's a good superset. Chin-ups, 4 sets, 6 to 10. Oh, okay, no, so sorry. The chin-ups are AMRAP, and then the bench overhead press is 4 sets of 6 to 10. I think 6 to 10 is a good rep range for overhead press. Don't have a problem with that. And the AMRAP pull-up, chin-ups make sense. I like that. And I like the choice of chin-ups because we've already done pull-ups on day 1, and chin-ups give us a little bit more bicep even though they're still a back exercise. So that's good. Not a problem with that. Then we go isolation work / non-specific accessories. Hyperextensions, supersetted to cable row, or I guess giant setted to cable rows, giant setted to abs. Why not? This gives us a little bit of extra hip extension. The one thing though I will say is we've now done a whole bunch of hip extension because we did 4 sets of that deadlift variation on day 1, and now we're doing 4 sets of hyperextension as well. So we are really biasing the posterior chain. But the flip side is, as a beginner, I honestly think the posterior chain is more important because if you have a strong posterior chain, it sets you up to be able to do other exercises. It means that you can overhead press. It means you can barbell row. It means that you can squat. Even though, it means you're not limited in the squat by your posterior chain. So I don't actually have a problem with that. And then with cable rows, a little bit more horizontal pulling. And then finally, abs AMRAP. I just wish he would once again say which ab exercise he wants you to do, because abs is could be anything. And there's some really shit ab exercises out there. Like bicycle kicks, and there's some really good ones out there, like a cannonball crunch or something like that. So it'd be good if he told us which one he wants us to do. But I don't mind that as a giant set, and I honestly think giant sets are actually probably pretty good for beginners because it's going to build their work capacity and teach them how to work at a gym, especially if these are committed beginners. Because a sort of guy who's looking up a program from Natural Hypertrophy is a sort of guy who's he wants to be in the gym, he wants to work hard. Some of my clients have to write them very chill programs because they're the sort of people who don't really want to train, they just know they have to. Whereas I assume the sort of guy that Natural Hypertrophy is writing a program for are committed people who really want to train. So why not let them train and let them do some giant sets, let them work. Then we go to Friday, which we start with deadlifts. 1 to 3 heavy sets, 2 to 5 reps. I think 2 is a little low. 2 is almost like powerlifting style. I would say 4 to 6 or something like that if you want to go really low. I don't know if you're going to build much muscle from 2 reps. You will build strength, but this is a hypertrophy program, so I'm not a huge fan of that. I'd bump up that rep range. Something to note here is we've now got even more hip extension. So we've basically done hip extension every single day. So that's something to think about. It is a lot. But the hip extension on the Wednesday was pretty calm. It was just hyperextension, so nothing to worry about there. Then we go to squats, or squat variation. I'm not sure what he means by that. Maybe he just means you can choose like a heel elevated squat or a wide squat or a pause squat or whatever. So we said the pull-ups. Good, more vertical pulling, totally fine. I think pull-ups you can kind of spam, which he has you doing a pull-up basically every day, chin up or pull-up. 4 sets, 6 to 10. Good, now we've got some props, so we're actually doing some like more squatting here. We've now added, because say you did only 1 set on day 1, you've now done 4 more, so yeah, that's 5 total. Basically the reverse of day 1, actually, if you look at it, because day 1 was 1 to 3 sets of squats and then 4 sets of deadlift, basically. Excuse me. And day 3 is 1 to 3 sets of deadlift and then 4 sets of squat. So it kind of undoes that ratio problem I had. So I actually really like that. And I honestly think that pull-ups are a much better superset to squats and out of deadlifts, because the deadlift recruits your upper back to keep the bar stable, whereas a squat just a tiny bit, just to keep it like it's basically resting there. So I think that pull-ups make much more sense as a superset to squats than they do to deadlifts. So I prefer this Friday superset to the Monday superset. Then we go isolation work / non-specific accessories. Easy bar curls supersetted to pull-ups. Oh my god, that's a lot of pull-ups. I don't know how much I like this. He's got us doing 8 sets of pull-ups. Bearing in mind that we already did vertical pulling on the other 2 days. Then we're going to do 8 sets of pull-ups, and we're supersetting that with easy bar curls, so your biceps is going to be fried. As a beginner, you are probably getting sets of 1. It says AMRAP, but as a beginner, honestly, on your 8th set of pull-ups, you might be getting sets of 1. Especially considering you're already deadlifted. I don't like this. I wish you'd superset something else to pull-ups. To easy bar curls. And if he wants you to do more vertical pulling, this would be a good time to put in a lat pull down or something. Something that you can adjust the reps again, because 8 sets of pull-ups on your 8th set, you are going to be cooked. Absolutely cooked. So I don't love that, but I do like that we're doing some bicep isolation. And then finally we go back to that pseudo GPP push-ups and abs. That's fine. That gives us some chest on this day. So once again, same problem. I wish he would tell us what abs he wants us to do. But I like that superset. I think that's totally fine. I would just change up this day, because one thing I notice now that I look is we have no horizontal pulling in the whole program. So I think there's a pretty easy solve to this, to those 2 issues. The issues of the too many pull-ups and the no horizontal pulling, is you would just swap out the pull-ups on Friday, the second pull-ups, the ones you're supersetting with the easy bar curls. Just swap those out to some sort of row, maybe a dumbbell row, say, and you can still superset it with your easy bar curls. And then you're chilling, because now you've got some horizontal pulling in the program and you don't do too many pull-ups. Other than that, I really like this program. We've got abs. We don't have any forearms. Perhaps you could superset forearms with... He's kind of got you super... This guy supersets more than I do. You could possibly, assuming if you have grips, you could superset your forearms with your squats on day 1. But to be honest, assuming you don't have grips, you're going to get a lot of forearm training as a beginner to begin with, just from holding on to the damn bar. So no forearms, but we can work with that. We do have abs. We have no cards in this program. Honestly, what I might do if this was me is I might, because we've already got a giant set at the end of day 3. Why not just make a giant set at the end of day Monday and Friday as well, and just add some cards into that end bit with the push-ups and the abs? Because there's no cards in this program, which I don't think is ideal. But other than that, this is a good program, and I do like how he's told you what the purpose of each exercise is. So just criticisms are: tell me what ab exercise you want me to do. Swap in some horizontal pulling, because there's none in the program, and pop in some cards as well. But other than that, really nice program, good stuff. I like this a lot. Awesome. Thanks for watching.